Storytelling is a way for us humans to share experiences or pass down traditions. It's a timeless art form that weaves a narrative that captivates and entertains. Here is our one and only Sue Kimsey and her inflatable doll story.
It's not turned on.
Just use the other one.
Use the other one.
There you go. It's a backup.
It's supposed to be green. Something's on now. This one's on.
Okay.
This one's on? No. This one's on. Sorry. I'm going to tell you a story about an inflatable doll. And it began when my parents decided it was time to move from their condo to a assisted living facility. So they had all kinds of stuff. Of course, we all know we've all moved all the things to get rid of. And I wanted some of that stuff. The problem is, I lived in Foley, Alabama. They lived in Rockford, Illinois, 1,000 miles away. So first thing I did was think, okay, I'm going to fly up to O'Hare, take the bus to Rockford, go through my folks' stuff, rent a U-Haul, and then drive it back to Foley, Alabama. And I priced it out and figured gas, and it's an 8-hour drive to get to Nashville, spend the night in Nashville, go on to Rockford, and then have to do it over again on the way back. So I figured out all the expenses. Then I thought, whoa, that's going to be really expensive with the airfare and all that. So then I decided, well, I would just get a U-Haul truck down here and take it up there and then drive the U-Haul back down here. And when I figured that out, I about had a heart attack. So I decided to go and look for an used pickup truck. And so I shopped around and found one with a cover on the back, an F-150 Ford pickup truck. And I got thinking about that, and it's, again, 1,000 miles, a woman by herself. I have seen more people stranded along the interstate. I didn't want to be sitting along the interstate with an old truck, so I had it's examined by a mechanic and got new tires, and he said it was all ready to go. So I was ready to go. Then I thought, an old woman traveling by herself, 1,000 miles. Then I remembered, for my husband's birthday, some of his fellow workers gave him an inflatable doll. So I went to the closet and yanked her out, and of course she wasn't inflated then, and she had a Sophia Loren painted on face, and I decided to inflate her. There's a stem right at her navel, and as you all know, when you blow up beach balls and rafts, you can get kind of dizzy if you do it too fast. So I took time and blew her up, and she looked perfect. She was almost as tall as me, except she was naked. So I put sweatpants on her, a striped shirt, and a baseball cap, and took her out to the pickup truck and put her in the passenger seat, and fastened her in with a seatbelt. And I was set. I felt better having somebody in the truck with me. So I started on my trip the next morning, and I had been driving multiple hours. I listened to books on tape as I'm driving that far, and I looked over and I realized she must have had a slow leak because her head was hanging down. And I thought, oh, well, she looked human that way. I mean, most of us fall asleep in the truck. I went on a few more hours, and then I realized she was starting to slide down into sleep. So usually when I stopped at a rest area or a gas station, I parked way out. And in the rest areas, most people have to go badly, so they park right at the place or right before it, and just beyond it is pretty empty. So I normally pulled in and went past the building and then parked. Same thing with the gas stations, I'd park way up. So I decided it was time to fill her back up, inflated. So I came into the next rest area, I went past the main building, went way out to the edge, parked, went into the building, came back out, got to the pickup truck, went around to the passenger side, threw the door open, pulled up her shirt, and got the valve out of her waist. And I'm standing in the parking lot, in the doorway of the pickup truck, and I begin to blow her up. And I'm going, well, horns started honking. People started yelling, woo-hoo! And finally I figured out what they thought they were seeing. And what they were seeing was not what I was doing. What I was doing was an exact description of a blowjob.